Evelyn moved into the old farmhouse in October, when the wind had teeth and the trees outside leaned too close to the windows. It was supposed to be quiet there, somewhere to finish her novel and clear her head, as her sister put it. But quiet was never what Evelyn got. The first night, she heard whispering. Not loud, just soft, like someone speaking through fabric. She froze, heart hammering. The sound came from the walls, faint and rhythmic, as if the house itself was murmuring to her. Wind, she told herself. Just wind. But when she pressed her ear to the wallpaper, she swore she heard her name. By the third day, Evelyn stopped writing. She sat at the kitchen table for hours, staring at the corner where the wall met the floor. The whispering had become a low, steady conversation, like two people arguing behind a curtain. When she shouted, "Stop it!" the house fell silent. For a few hours, she almost believed she'd imagined it. Then, just after midnight, her phone lit up with a new recording, a voice memo she didn't remember making. She pressed play. It was her own voice. "I know you're in the walls," it said, trembling. "You can stop pretending to be me." Evelyn threw the phone across the room. Days blurred. She boarded up the windows, unplugged every device, and still, the house watched. She began to catch her reflection moving a fraction of a second too late. Her smile stayed a little too long. When her sister came to visit, Evelyn wouldn't open the door. "Evie, it's me," her sister called. But the voice came from behind her, inside the house. Evelyn turned slowly toward the hallway mirror. Her reflection was already smiling. When the police finally entered the farmhouse 3 weeks later, they found every mirror shattered, and the walls carved with thousands of words. "I hear you. I hear you. I hear you." They never found Evelyn. But at night, when the wind passes through the farmhouse, you can still hear her voice whispering back. "I'm still listening." 3 months after Evelyn vanished, Clara finally got the keys. The police told her not to go inside, that the place was unsafe, that it had a feeling about it. But Clara couldn't stay away. She needed to see where her sister's fear had taken root. Needed to understand why Evelyn's last message had been a voicemail of nothing but breathing. The house waited at the end of the dirt road, blind-eyed and still. Inside, the air was thick, old wood, mildew, and something metallic. Her boots stuck slightly to the floor. The police had removed the worst of the carvings, but she could still see the ghost of the words under the plaster. "I hear you." Clara touched them, tracing the grooves with trembling fingers. She spent the first night sleeping on the couch with the lights on. Nothing happened, until 3:12 a.m. That was when her phone lit up, just like Evelyn's. New recording. Clara hadn't touched it. Her stomach dropped as she pressed play. A voice whispered. "Clara, stop pretending you're not her." She dropped the phone. The whisper didn't stop. It came from behind the walls. By the 5th night, she stopped leaving the house. Something about the place pulled at her, soft as breath against her ear. She started to dream of Evelyn, standing in the corner, mouth open but silent, eyes wide with pleading. When she woke, there were words scratched into the wall above her bed. "You brought her back." On the 7th day, Clara found a hidden crawlspace behind the bookshelf. Dust thick as velvet. A faint sound, like someone whispering underwater. She crawled in, holding her phone's flashlight in front of her. At the far end, a small mirror, cracked through the middle. Her reflection blinked a half-second too late. Then, from the phone speaker, Evelyn's voice. "You finally came home." The flashlight flickered. In the reflection, Evelyn's face was pressed against the glass from the inside. And when Clara screamed, the echo didn't come from her throat. It came from the walls. When the house was sold again 2 years later, the real estate agent swore she heard 2 women whispering to each other inside. But only one name echoed clearly through the dust. Clara. The farmhouse sat abandoned for years. Then Mara moved in. She was a researcher, a skeptic writing her thesis on folklore and auditory hallucination. The locals warned her about the sisters who'd lived there before. She smiled politely, took her notes, and ignored the tremor in her landlord's voice when he handed her the keys. The first few nights were uneventful. The floors creaked, the wind moaned, the usual things a rational mind can dismiss. But on the fourth night, Mara recorded something strange on her audio equipment, faint whispers under the sound of her own breathing. When she slowed the playback, she caught words. "Help me. Stop pretending." She deleted the file, called it interference. Then, the next morning, she found a message carved into her desk. "Listen closer." Mara began tracing the house's history. Evelyn and Clara were real, two sisters who vanished months apart. Their voices appeared in every recording she took, growing clearer each day. She started to notice her own voice changing in the playback, echoing with the same distortion as theirs. At night, she'd hear two women whispering just beyond her bedroom door, their voices almost tender, like they were waiting for her to join them. Finally, desperate, Mara set up a final experiment, a live recording at 3:12 a.m., the time both sisters had last been heard. She spoke into the recorder. "Who are you?" Static. Then? "We're you." The lights flickered. And when Mara looked into the mirror across the room, there were three reflections, all smiling in unison. It had been 6 months since Mara vanished. The farmhouse was sealed off again, condemned for good this time. The town sheriff said it was for safety reasons, but everyone knew it wasn't about the structure, it was about the silence. Because no one who went near that place ever came back quite the same. Eleanor, a podcast journalist, didn't believe in curses. She believed in patterns. The missing sisters, the researcher, the strange audio files, it was the perfect unsolved mystery. She thought she'd spend one night near the property, gather sound clips for her show, and leave with a spine-chilling story. Instead, she left with something else. Her recorder picked up faint static when she parked near the fence. Then a voice, female, faint, pleading. "Can you hear me?" Eleanor froze. There was no one around. She turned off the recorder. The voice kept talking. Back home, she listened to the playback again. Under the static were three distinct voices. They spoke over one another, whispering and gasping, their words tangling in panic. "She's listening. Don't let her in. She's already here." Her hand trembled. The sound wasn't just in the file anymore. It was behind her. Days passed. Eleanor couldn't sleep. Every device in her apartment would turn on at 3:12 a.m., the same cursed time from the old police reports. And in the mirror, sometimes, just for a flicker, she'd see other faces. 3 women, standing close behind her. The writing started appearing next. In the condensation on her bathroom mirror. "I hear you." On her bedroom wall, in faint scratches she didn't remember making. "You brought us with you." By the end, she stopped recording. There was no point, the whispers were constant, now inside her own head. She tried to delete her files, destroy the recorder, but each time she turned around, the device would be right back on the table, red light blinking. The last thing her listeners ever heard was Eleanor's voice, trembling on a new episode upload that was never scheduled. "If you can hear this, don't listen to the house."